name is Chris Goldie. I'm a career coach and I work with PhD students and postdoctoral fellows at Stanford University in our main career center known as BEAM. One of the things I work on with a lot of students is their CVs, their curriculum vitae. And I realized that there are 4 tricks that I know about how to use Microsoft Word to format a CV that a lot of students don't seem to know. And that's what I want to share with you today. I'd rather you spend your time on the structure and the content of your CV and spend less time fussing with the formatting. So let's get started. Now there's a lot that I like about this CV. It's probably because I wrote it just for this exercise. But there's 4 things that I want to show to you. First, I think every time that I'm working on a CV on Microsoft Word, I start by clicking this button. It's the Show Formatting button. And when you click it, you see the behind the scenes formatting marks that usually you don't get to see. And by having those visible to you, you can figure out how the formatting is working, and it makes it easier to edit. There's 3 different marks here that I want to point out to you. One of them is this backwards P. It's a paragraph mark, and that's an old printer's mark for showing when there's an end of paragraph. The second is this arrow, and that shows when there's a tab. Let me put in an extra tab, and you can see the text moves forward in increments, and little arrows appear. And the final is this little dot. That's a space. As you can see, if I add more spaces, I get more dots. Secondly, I want to talk to you about tabs. Now, you may think that tabs are just a standard kind of a thing. And Microsoft Word, when it has a document open like this one, puts in a default on the tabs, and that's at every ½ inch. So at every ½ inch, a left-hand tab is already included. Now, you may say to yourself, what's a left-hand tab? I just thought there was regular tabs. Well, the tab that you're used to works with the left, and the text aligns with the left mark of the tab, and then moves across. Let me show you where you can see this. Over here, tucked on the left, there's a little box, and that's where the tab is. And I should probably note at this point that I'm showing you this on a PC, but this is all exactly the same on a Mac. So the Show Formatting looks like that P, and it's in that same location, and the tabs are over here on the left. They look slightly different on a Mac, a slightly different arrow, but it's exactly the same kind of thing. And so you can see this looks like a little L here. And that's the normal left-hand tab. The text aligns with the top, the vertical line, and then runs to the left where the horizontal line is. Well, the other thing you should know is that when you start to put in your own tabs, which you can do, that will eliminate the formatting that is standard on the document. And so if there's anything you want to keep, you should do that. So I want to do this tab that I'm going to show you on the whole document. So I'm going to select the entire document so that all the tabs that I add are used across the document. You can see that there's a tab here that lines up the names of the degrees, the discipline of the degrees for Chris Frosting, and I want to keep that. So I like that at about the ½ inch mark, but I actually think it would be nice if there was a little more space. So I'm going to put a default left tab right here, just a little bit further over, so that this is a little bit more highlighted. What I want to do now is think about how to align the dates here on the right-hand side. Now, the reason that I want to do that is because it will allow the reader to quickly skim and see the dates over time. But it takes the dates away from the left, which is where people often have them, and allows us to use this prime real estate. That's how I think of the left edge. This is your prime real estate because we read from left to right. I want to put really meaty content here and not just dates. So I'd like to align my dates over here on the right. And a lot of times what I see people try and do when they try and align their dates is they either just put in some tab marks or some spaces, but it's really hard to get everything lined up on the right edge here. So let me take those back out, and I'll show you this trick instead. Okay, so again, we're going to select the entire document, and then I'm going to come back over here where these tabs are. So here we have the left tab, but if I click in here, I get a different tab, and that's actually a center tab. You can see the vertical is in the middle, and the tails run out to both sides. So the text will run out to both sides and line up in the center. If I click it one more time, I get the right tab. Kind of looks like a reverse L. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and slide it right in at the edge of the text. Now there's a tab over here. There's one here, a left tab, and one here that's a right tab. And so if I just click the tab button once, I add one tab, and it aligns the text here to the right with the rest of the text running this direction. I'm going to do the same thing here. And again, for the bachelor's degree. And then I'll take away the space and the comma. Great. Well, it all kind of looks aligned, but there's something funky going on over here, and that's because there's these extra spaces. So I'm actually going to take them out. Easy to do because I can already see them. Okay, so that was tip number 2. The next tip I want to show you has to do with spacing around paragraphs. So let's slide down to this part of the CV where Chris Frosting has fellowships and awards. Now, I like that they're listed here, but I think they're kind of jammed up and it's really hard to see them distinguish one from the other. And I like to get just a little more spacing. Well, one way to do that is to just put a carriage return paragraph between each one. But that puts a lot of space in between. And I think that's just taking up too much space. So I'd like to figure out how to put a little bit of space in between. And here's the easiest way to do that. Select them all, and then we're going to format those paragraphs. Now the way that you do this on a PC is you go up here to this paragraph section and you click on this, which will show you this box that helps you to format the paragraph. On a Mac, you'll go up in about the same location, and there's a button called Formatting, and you pull on that menu and you'll find Format Paragraph. And that will show you this same kind of a box. So what we want to do is format the spacing around each of these paragraphs. And I'd like to put just 6 points of space after each of these paragraphs. And that will help, it's like a half of a line, half of that carriage return, but it'll give us a little bit more spacing. So I'll put that 6 in there, hit OK, and you can see how this has spaced this out a little bit more. The next thing I want to do here is think about a little bit more formatting around this subheading here, Graduate Teaching Assistant. I think this kind of gets lost, so I'm going to use this exact same strategy. So let me select on Graduate Teaching Assistant. I'll go to Format Paragraph. I'm going to put 8 points of space before this paragraph and 6 points after. I think that's just going to help this heading to kind of stand out a little bit. And then I think I'm also going to underline it. There we go. So I've used this same strategy a second time. But I'm going to also use this to demonstrate our third thing in just a second. The other thing I want to think about here is these main headers that are in teaching experience, awards and fellowships, publications, and education. I'm not liking how this is centered here, and I think this could stand out a little more. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to move it over to the left. I'm going to make it a little bigger so it stands out from the rest of the text. I like that a little better, but I also think it's sort of floating here between the two things. So I think it'd be nice if it was a little bit closer to the text that it was related to and a little further away from the text above. So I'm going to take away these 2 paragraph marks. Then I'm going to use that same trick about formatting paragraph. Go up here again. I'm going to put 14 points of space, 12 to 14 points, maybe 14, before, and then I'm going to put another 8 points after. That's going to move it a little bit closer to the text below, a little bit further away from the text above. All right, I really like the way that looks. If I want to really check how this looks, you can turn off the paragraph marks so you don't have those distracting you. You can see that actually looks pretty good. Turn that back on. All right, so what I'd like to do now is copy this formatting for the subheading of peer-reviewed articles and the main heading of publications. Well, either I have to remember all the different formatting that I did, or here's the 4th trick, and this is called the Format Painter. So I'm going to select this one here, this subheading, and I'm going to go up here. And up here in the left, you can see this little paintbrush. I click on this paintbrush, that's the Format Painter. And then when I bring my cursor back over the text, you can see it's turned into a little paintbrush. And I'm just going to paint the thing that I want to be the same as that subheading. Whoops, I didn't quite grab it all, so I'm going to click that paintbrush again, and I'm going to make sure to paint the entire text that I want. And look at that, it's copied that same formatting. Let me show you this again by doing this with the main header. Click the paintbrush, and then paint over the text that I want. We can do this again for this header of awards and fellowships. Click the paintbrush. In fact, I can actually just click that whole line by just clicking on that left margin. We do this one more time by copying this formatting. Click the paintbrush, click up here at education. So let's check and see how this all looks now that we've done these 4 tricks. I'm going to turn off the format paragraph so I can see the whole thing. And you can see it's all a little bit more lined up. Oops, I'm realizing there's some extra space here. Let me turn this back on. Whoops, I didn't take out these extra spaces before and after. And I want to take that one out. And I want to take that one out. There we go. All right. Oops, and one more here. And one more here. All right, let's turn this off. Now you can see the whole thing has a nice consistent look. The dates are lined on the right using our trick of the right-hand tab stop. These are nicely spaced. There's nice spacing around there using the before and after paragraph spacing. And we were able to copy and paint that formatting using the paintbrush. And we can check what it looks like or look at our hidden paragraph, our hidden formatting marks by turning that on and off. Thanks so much for your attention. Best wishes.